this is a team that's kind of a head-scratching team. This is a team that you're kind of like, oh, what? This is a team that held a 24-10 point lead going into the fourth quarter versus the Chicago Bears. We were getting text because I picked the Chicago Bears to win this game. Hoffy was texting us, what about that Bears pick? Whatever, yada, 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 right? Flash forward to the fourth quarter. 1:34 left in the game. The Minnesota Vikings had a 10-point lead. They allowed the Bears to tie the game and take the game into overtime after having a 10-point lead with 1:34 left. If you guys did not watch the end of the Bears-Vikings game, go back and watch it. If you did not watch the end of the Commanders-Cowboys game, go back and watch it. In overtime, the Vikings did hold the Bears to a 3-and-out, and then they did drive the ball the length of the field to kick a game-winning field goal to win the game. But that's not about that. This is about the Minnesota Vikings. Fact or crap, guys, the Vikings lack the ability to put the nail in the coffin versus the Chicago Bears will come back and hurt them down the road. So there's a team out there that likes to give up fourth quarter leads. That is the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens, when you flash back, versus the Las Vegas Raiders, they gave up 2 10-point leads and ultimately lost that game. Guys, the Minnesota Vikings right now are 9-2 on the season. They have won 5 in a row to start the season. They went on a 2-game losing streak, but now they have won 4 games in a row. They have their 10th ranked offense, averaging 351 yards per game, averaging 25 points per game. And if the playoffs were to start today, they would be playing the Atlanta Falcons in the wild card. And then if playoffs hold face, they would be playing the Detroit Lions in the divisional round. I say that because this is a fact. The fact that the Minnesota Vikings did not put the nail in the coffin versus the Chicago Bears could be a trend coming forward. Let's say this is a playoff team. Well, they are a playoff team. They're not 95% chance of making the playoffs. Let's say they're playing the Atlanta Falcons in the playoffs. They hold a 10-point lead. If you do not put the nail in the coffin early versus the Falcons in the fourth quarter, Kirk Cousins can come back and wax that ass. Let's just be honest. The Detroit Lions, third ranked offense in the NFL, right? No, it's second ranked offense in the NFL. You have a 10-point lead on them going into the fourth quarter. If you do not put the nail in the coffin early on them, they're going to come back and be just like the Chicago Bears, but probably beat you in overtime. Guys, the simple fact of the matter is that the Minnesota Vikings failed to put the nail in the coffin versus a bad Chicago Bears team. What is going to happen when they play a team like the Green Bay Packers? What's going to happen when they play a team like the Detroit Lions or the Atlanta Falcons or whoever else they potentially could play in the playoffs? Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you do not know how to put a nail in the coffin versus a division opponent on the road, how do I have faith you're going to do that in the playoffs? This is a world of concern for the Minnesota Vikings. Let's just be honest, because in their wins so far this season, right? In their wins so far this season, they've pretty much been blowing everybody out. They had the Green Bay Packers on the ropes early in that game. What was it, 28-0 going into the fourth quarter? They let the Green Bay Packers come back and score 21 unanswered points on them. And then they had to kick a game-winning field goal against the Green Bay Packers. This has been a trend for them, right? They lost to the Lions because they could not capitalize on the 14-point lead in the first quarter. They let the Lions hang around, and the Lions come back and they won that game. They let the Jaguars hang around. They had a chance to win that game. This has been a trend for the Minnesota Vikings all season long. And this one, most recently, versus the Chicago Bears in overtime, is going to come back and bite them in the butt. So, guys, is it fact or crap? Will the Minnesota Vikings lose a game in the playoffs because they cannot put the nail in the coffin? And John is saying crap. Why, John? Why are you saying crap? Is it because your best friend is a Minnesota Vikings fan It's because you are now a Minnesota Vikings fan. Why is it crap? Frank says, yes, sir. And Derek says, division games always hurt. Division games are always close, right? That is why we like divisional opponents. That's why we like these rivalry games. It's because they know each other inside, side, and out. And it's nice for our fan bases to hate each other. It is nice for the players to hate each other. But when you cannot put the nail in the coffin, up 14 points going into the fourth quarter, 24-10, and they tie it, come on. And John says the Minnesota Vikings are a very competitive team. They are a very competitive team. They are 9-2 on the season. Very competitive. Winners of 4 games in a row. Not over good teams, but still win 4 games in a row. And if you cannot put the nail in the coffin against bad teams, how are you going to do it against good teams? That's tough. But I think it's fact. The fact that they cannot put up a nail in the coffin versus a bad team, how are they going to do it against a good team? How can they do it against a good team like one of the best teams in the NFC, the Green Bay